Hello, everybody. Last time we saw some of the interview stunts of how to, go for an interview for companies like networking company or software company or kind of either cloud cluster company or any other kind of software development company or business development company and things like that. Okay, today we're going to look at what is called a decorum. Okay,
Decorum.
decorum. Okay, that's how behavior in keeping with good taste and propriety. He had an acted with the utmost decorum, etiquette. Okay, he had no idea funeral decorum, archiac, particular requirements of good taste and proprietary plural nouns, decorums. What is the example of decorum? A decorum is defined as appropriate, polite behavior in society. An example of decorum is to show good table manners, uncountable, appropriate social behavior, propriety. What does decorum mean? Okay, what does decorum mean? Dramatic proprietary definition of decorum: literary and dramatic proprietary fitness. According to strict neoclassic decorum, only the aristocracy has right to appeal in tragedy. Helping Babbitt. Propriety and good taste in conduct and or appearance, strict in her notions of decorum. What is synonym of decorum? Non-appropriate good manners, behavior, good manners. What is dignity and decorum? Okay, dignified propriety of behavior, speech, dress, etc. The quality or state of being, decorous, orderliness, regularity. Does decorum mean silent? How do you use the word decorum? How do you show decorum? Are etiquette and decorum the same? So when you go for an interview and other things, these are some of the things which are called etiquettes and decorum. So you have to go in time. That is one of the things that is necessarily things when you're talking to them. Be strict on what you're talking and when to meet, what time. You have to keep appropriate time for it, and the kind of dressing, the kind of the kind of look and feel of you, of whether they could accept you as a kind of working as a software engineer or something like that, and the kind of status they are looking for. Status in the sense they are not looking for kind of grand status or something like that with too much of gold or jewels and things like that, but they're actually looking for some kind of dignified and kind of who has a kind of dignity and things like that. Okay, those kind of things. Definition and meaning. Okay, office decorum meaning. What is office decorum? So these are the things. Office, when you're going to work in an office or software company or something like that. So we have to go look into the meaning of office decorum meaning. Decorum is the behavior that people consider to be correct, polite, and respectful, formal. I was treated with decorum, respect throughout the investigation. Synonyms: propriety, decency, etiquette. Breeding: more synonyms of decorum. Collins, Coble, Advanced Learners Dictionary. So you have to go into look into Collins, Coble, Advanced Learners Dictionary to get the definitions of what is an office decorum. Okay, how do you maintain office decorum? Workplace decorum and office etiquette. Religious, political, and personal topics should be avoided. So the first thing you have to, when you go look for an office kind of thing, and you're going for looking for a job in some kind of software company or hardware company or some kind of computer companies and other things. First thing, you have to avoid all the religious, political, and personal topics should be avoided. Show respect to people around you. First thing, you just go welcome all the people, tell them hi, 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 hi. Show them some kind of respect for each one of them. We should always dress properly. The other one is called dress code. Dress code is something you have to wear things properly and things like that. So And although some people also look at the health code also. Health code is a thing which where you can speak properly, talk properly, those kind of things, whether you're too much obese or something like that, always coughing and things like that. So you have to avoid all any kind of illness and other things. And then you have to speak properly, and then only you can have what is called a decorum. So some of the things are even your eating habits. Sometimes they check, whether you're eating properly and things like that, and whether you're healthy enough to come for the interview and other things. So you have to follow those kind of strict procedure, whether you have, you know, your you have a hair dressing properly and things like that. Once we are in office, we should tone down our pitch. We should speak in a very polite way so that it does not disturb other co-workers. The first thing you have to do is you don't have to shout when you go into an office and kind of like bag into the office and ask for a job or something like that. You have to walk politely to the person interested or the hiring resources department, and you have to ask them, hello sir, this is my thing, these are my credentials, can I have a job? I am looking for a job in your company because I know your company, and those kind of things you have to give. And you have to talk to them in a low pitch tone, and you have to talk to them in a tone down or pitch down. You should speak in a very polite way so that it does not disturb other co-workers. People who are working on the other side, they'll be disturbed when you're talking. So you have to be very polite, slow decorum, and talk to them very lightly. What is an example of decorum? Decorum is defined as an appropriate polite behavior in society. An example of decorum is to show good table manners. The first thing you have to know what are table manners and other things. What are synonyms for decorum? What does social decorum mean? There are other things also when you're going and meeting some 10 or 15 people who are going to interview you and things like that. So you have to make some other kind of social decorum also. You have to maintain. What is social decorum? Sits down appropriate social behavior, propriety, and is thus linked to notion of etiquette and manners. So you have to follow some kind of etiquette and manners. If they ask you to stand in a queue, you have to stand in a queue and then wait for your response time. They'll give you a response time, and then you can go for the interview. And you have to clean properly, wash properly, do all your house housekeeping before you go to the interview, and have a fresh cup of tea or something like that, so that you don't get into any kind of trouble. Have plenty of water so that you don't sweat too much and things like that. Find a nice place to stay, and take a cool walk to the office, and then ask for those kind of things. Why is decorum important in business? Okay, business etiquette is important because it creates a professionally, mutually respectful atmosphere and improves communication, which helps an office serve as a productive place. People feel better about their jobs when they feel respected, and that translates into better customer relationship as well. So you have to build a customer. In case of business relationships, you have to have a customer relationship where you have to talk properly, speak properly, have the things very clear, and have the kind of tone that is needed for, and you have to speak slowly and decent and in a low tone, so that other people don't disturb when you're talking. What is the importance of decorum? The rules of decorum can be thought of as the rules of etiquette, which tend to be different for different situations, but are generally intended to show respect to the host and other guests present in any formal situation. So if we have any kind of formal situation, we have to go meet those kinds of people properly. Okay, if you have a friend or something like that, they don't care or something like that. But if you're going to meet the HR personnel and other kinds of hiring people and other kinds of important officials who are waiting for you for the interview and things like that, you have to talk to them politely and say hi, hello sir, what is your name sir, can I talk to you sir, and things like that. So those kind of things you have to use, those kind of words, and some kind of low tone kind of things you have to use. If they are going to hire you for some kind of senior managers or something like that, then they might ask you plenty of other questions about the companies and other details and other things. So if they are going to hire those kind of management level category. They are going to ask different tough questions, how you manage different kinds of people and things like that. So if you are not going to management level, so if you are going to assist as a kind of development developer or something like that, you don't need too much of dress code and things like that, but you have to maintain some kind of dress code, etiquette, and other things before you go for a job interview, especially in case of software engineering, telecommunication engineering or hardware engineering and computer engineering. Those kind of things are all some kind of professional look you have to have. However, take a good photograph of yourself also, so that people can have a very good look at you and kind of judge whether you're a quiet and a calm person and you're able to talk. Do some yoga, do some exercises before, so that your body doesn't suit to you. Kind of don't go on a hot sun or a wet season or a those kind of things you have to avoid, and try to make the appointments proper so that you can go as a nice person and meet those person in a calm and cool manner. How do you use the word decorum? How do you use the word decorum? She has a strong sense of decorum. There are some democracies where business is conducted with correctly soporific decorum. This is also offers a whole sense of decorum. How do you use decorum or decorum etiquette the same? Okay, etiquette, decorum, proprietary, impulse observance of formal requirements governing behavior in polite society. Etiquette refers to conventional forms of usages. The rules of etiquette, decorum, such as dignity and a sense of what is becoming appropriate for a person of good breeding, a fine sense of decorum. Okay, dressing habits have to be good. Then you have to stand erect or sit erect. Talk to them straight and look into their face. Find out who work with them. Just try to communicate with your eye. Those kind of things. You have to talk to them nicely, and then. So this is the kind of thing that you're going for any kind of interview, but I don't have the complete details of how to prepare yourself for an interview and what kind of other things you have to do, but those things are all beyond the scope of this. Today we just saw how to use decorum, what kind of dressing habits you have to have, what kind of timings you have to do, wear a watch and go with the timing, and try to stay in a queue or something. If they ask you to stay in a queue or sit in a bench, allow for some gaps between those planes, don't crush or something like that. Then those kind of things are all small things which you have to take care, and then go meet the personalities. Don't be over aggressive, don't be less aggressive. You have to be on the right tone to get your job offers, and the positional things depend on how much you can control other people. If there is some kind of management level, they look for some kind of control managing all the people and things like that. So how you communicate with those kind of people, how to access those kind of people, how do you respond to those kind of answers, those are the things they'll be looking for. But I don't have the complete details of the whole thing. You can go for different kinds of interviews and try to maintain those kind of decorums and other things, and then find out how they are going to help you. Okay, so you have to do 2 or 3 interviews or 4 interviews to different places, and some professionals are there, they're going to help you in some kind of business professionals, office decorum. They'll teach you some of the things. Some of the things they dress you up and give you all the supportive resources of how to go and attend the interview and other things. So those things are all beyond the scope of this lecture. So first thing, you have to know some other things. So different workplaces have different kinds of decorum. So I don't have to say, this is for a specific kind of things where it goes software engineer or hardware engineer or things like that. Those kind of things, or a design engineer, those kind of things are all normal casuals. And casuals, how you have to wear, what kind of casuals, how, whether it is clean or kind of some kind of you can manage with those kind of things. Those things they'll be looking into. Okay, so that is all for today about decorum of attending an interview with companies and other things, okay, especially software companies and hardware companies and computer companies or networking companies, those kind of things. That is all for today. I